Hello, friends. We make sure everything is up and running, and hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm using since as you can see, I'm using my actual performance equipment. Sometimes it's just nice to do that. Why not? All right. Hi, I'm Monica. You can call me Monica in this case. Um, I am a performer, singer-songwriter, nerd queen, but this time around, I am here to share my gifts of personal development. Okay. I have been a fan of journaling since I was, I want to say 11 years old, been journaling. And I found that to be a really effective way of goal setting, a really great way of managing your thoughts and dealing with situations. So like I said, I've kept a journal since I was about 11. There was a time where I don't want to say I stopped, but it wasn't as formal as it was in the past. But I'm kind of back in a big way. So I coach people in their life, and it started off as giving music lessons of all things, but then it turned into something more or something other. Because when I was giving music lessons, it actually turned into like some type of life coach kind of session over the period of time, getting to know that person and realizing what their obstacles or their challenges were. And it just started to get a little bit more obvious that it's not about learning the instrument. It was about building the confidence, and it was about developing the plan, because we grow up in a world where a lot of people tell us, oh, you're too young to do this, you're too old to do this, you're too brown to do this, you're too girly to do this. So there is always going to be I like to call them negative Nancy's and negative Neds out there that will, want to kill your dreams, basically. And I never let that happen. And just because I'm not on television or just because I'm not on American Idol doesn't mean that that's, I wanted something other than that. Because I had been working so dedicated, like diligently on what I wanted my life to look like as a performer. So I'm sitting on my kind of loungy space here. All right, and we get Indian style, get comfortable. All right, friends. So get your beverages. I got mine. I'm gonna give you a heads up. He seems to be behaving, but of course, Miko is in the house. I chose not to go to my other usual setup because he tends to jump on those things. But this is a newer setup, and he can join me if he wants, but he's not going to jump on anything over here, I don't think. All right, so let's get into this session. I'm going to share my screen. Let me get set up. Okay, so here we are. And this is how can I explain this? Just an introduction into journaling. So journaling your way to success by me. As I said before, I'm a singer-songwriter, composer, writer of books. I hadn't got to that part yet, but I'll explain later in our session. Educator, I've taught people from ages 2 to 60, 70, so, and coach, same. All right, creative alchemist and a polymath of sorts. All right, so let's get into this. A little bit about me. I do have a performance moniker, so if you are looking to see, well, how do I know you, or do I know you, you'll have to Google me, Nerd Queen. I am all over the interwebs. I've been performing on and off for about 20 years now, and this is my origin story. So I was born in the Midwest, grew up in the Deep South, back on my family's property farm. Back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have a lot of access to other people. So we had a nice, wonderful set of dictionaries and encyclopedias, access to going to libraries, things like that. And of course, we had satellites. So it wasn't like we were just like destitute or anything like that. So I got a lot of information growing up, but I also learned to be my own person. So I kind of recognize at this point now in my life that I am a little bit of a unicorn, because I didn't have those outside influences like peers and things like that trying to, turn me into something that I wasn't. I got an opportunity to actually be who I am. Okay. And so, yeah, so I'm not going to read the rest. It's out there. It's on Wikipedia if you really see it, but it's out there. So that's who I am. And today we're going to talk about journaling and how it is such a healthy, wonderful practice for people who, no matter where you are in life, really. So if you are dealing with a dilemma, if you are facing a challenge, if you are looking to find meaning in life, journaling. Okay. We're going to cover those benefits. We're going to actually, even this time, this is a little bit of a syllabus for the next few sessions. So today's session, we're going to talk about the journaling benefits, and then we're also going to talk about self-identity and awareness, because that's where it all begins. A lot of people are not aware of who they are as a person. And that's where journaling can really help you figure out, who are you and what do you really want? Okay. Upcoming in this series we'll talk about limiting beliefs and the blocks and how to work through them through using your journaling. Also how to set meaningful, achievable goals. And there's a reason why I put this in a certain order, because as a person chooses the goal, sometimes they are thinking, oh, I can't do this, because they are thinking about all of the things that they've grown up to believe about the world and then about themselves, even though they never got a chance to learn who they are as a person. Okay. And then one of the best parts, one of the things I love to nerd out about is developing habits for success. Okay. Setting up those systems and all that good stuff, and then just doing it. Okay. Because once you eliminate all the obstacles and the inner turmoil in your own mind, then it's just a matter of setting up the action plan. Okay. All right. Now, if you do have questions beyond today's session, you can, reach out to me. That is my email. I am also on LinkedIn. You can look me up, Monica Arrington. You'll see a picture of me. Hopefully you'll recognize me when you see that. And then I also, my friends, have a newsletter. I have a newsletter. Yeah. So I was thinking a lot about like all the things, and I was like, okay, I could have a newsletter for me being a singer-songwriter. Then I can also have me with a newsletter on coaching people and being an educator. And I was like, you know what? Why not just make it all in one? So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to my newsletter, not going, it's already started. So I have some issues already up. Working on August right now, because I want to include me starting school again, because I also teach elementary school. Okay, so I wanted to highlight some of that. So I'm documenting like a lot of the pre-planning and first week of school. But I already have at least some things up there on Substack, so you can check me out from there. Okay. All right, so let's get right into why, like, the benefits of journaling. Well, it definitely improves your mental and emotional health. Instead of holding on to um, difficult emotions, sometimes it's better to just write it out or draw it out. There's different kinds of journals out there. So even for the little, so when I call them the littles, like, you know, they're little people. I offer them journals sometimes to like talk about their feelings on it. And, you know, if they're willing to share, they will share. If they don't, it's okay. So that's a great outlet for dealing with or processing emotions and, like, you know, situations in life. We all have situations. Okay. It also helps you to develop and strengthen your self-awareness. And this is, again, what we're going to talk about mostly in this session today. Where a lot of people depend on other people to tell them who they are, and other institutions telling them who they are. And then when they are trying to become something more, showing like sovereignty or you know, being their own person, then there's pushback. And it's hard. You know, I can't necessarily say I've been through it, but I can imagine it's hard trying to push back against other people. But what I can tell you is, yeah, I've been ridiculed in my growing up, like a lot, okay. But I also already had a strong sense of self. And I know not a lot of people have that. Okay. So when you are starting, and this is also what's called inner work, sometimes it's called shadow work, depending on what you're journaling about, even mirror work. Okay. So all of this, you're just doing self-discovery when you never got that chance to do that before, whether you had peer pressure from friends and family and other outside forces, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, self-discovery. Okay. It is also a way to track your progress. Now, sometimes, depending on what your goal is, it's hard for, you know, most people to realize how far they've come and to be able to celebrate the work they've done so far. You know, and I've had fitness journals before. I've had fitness as in physical fitness, you know, and then even food diaries before. I'm actually thinking on starting another kind of nutrition journey, and that might be what I do in our next 6 weeks. You know, think about that and work on that. So it's a means to track and record your progress. And because of the fact that you're recording it, it helps you to pinpoint if there's a situation that happens where it's like, oh, okay, this week things didn't go so well. I wonder why. And go back and see, oh yeah, I had, you know, this and this and this happening. So it's a very stressful week. So that way you can, you know, pinpoint what happened and maybe how to fix it. Okay. And then because of the documentation of what you have, it's also that record where it's no judgment, where maybe you were thinking a certain kind of way and you thought that's how the world works. As you are starting to grow and learn who you are as a person, you can go back and say, you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. going through this particular journey that I'm going on. And it helps you to reframe, okay? And it helps you in the future. Say if you are trying to break a habit and instead of reacting, you can pause and learn how to respond instead of just run to the refrigerator and eat your foods, right? For example. So you become the observant of your life, not entrapped in your life. You start to realize you have far more control of your life. And that is the beauty of journaling. Okay. All right. So are there any questions so far? See anybody popping up? All right, I will just continue. Now, the types of journaling. Now, of course, yes, there's people out there that'll say, oh, I don't like to write. And again, I have that same issue as a teacher, teaching, like I said, the littles how to hold their pencil, how to, have great handwriting and all this stuff. And then people, now I'm going on this small tangent, where people use writing as a punishment. And then when it's time to do writing for expression, people don't want to do it, so I personally am not a fan of people doing that. But anyway, so I can understand why a lot of people do have issues with writing things in. All right, so, but if you are into the written word, which I personally think it's the best, you can put it in a book, get a journal, you can bullet journal. I can talk more about that later. If I'm again considering that, because that'll be a part of how I track that fitness thing that I want to do. All right, I see that people are sending me questions. You can just do it through the thing. Anyway. Somebody's asking, am I going to perform later in this session? Hadn't really planned on it. Maybe. I hadn't planned on it. Okay. We'll see. All right. So there is written in, let's say you can use a book, bullet journal. It is for record keeping, as I said before, and it's for reflection. So you can actually go back and look at it and say, oh yeah, Then there's digital. So I do recognize that there are people who have apps and all that things and all the things. I actually do use digital as well for other things. I love Pinterest. Anybody who knows me knows I'm all about my Pinterest. Okay, so I love Pinterest for inspiration and motivation. Okay, there may be other apps out there. There's something as simple as Note Keeper, right? Like most people on their phones, they have like a Note Keeper thing, so you can easily turn that into a journal. Okay, and then there's audio. I also embrace audio for a reason. Okay, if I am getting ideas for writing, for performance, for other things, and I just cannot get my paper and pencil out fast enough because I'm just like, because sometimes when the inspiration comes, it comes. I just turn on, again, using my phone, turn on the voice recorder app. I take, speak into it, I talk, and then I have my ideas. I've done that for years, just as long, probably, well, I'll take that back. I've been a writing journaler for a very long time, but once cell phones came into play and the ability to record, I started using that as well. And yes, they're amazing for those reasons. So use that tech to your advantage. And again, nobody has to know that, you have this material. And I think sometimes people get worried about people reading their thoughts. That's yet another reason why I can, say, yeah, you can make it digital, or you can make it audio, or you can even make it video. Okay. Again, for visual record keeping. Say if you are doing a physical goal like weight loss, you want to keep track of what you're looking at, right? You can also, again, talk it out. And it's great for, let's go reflection. So, for reflection, okay? So those are the types of journals you can keep. Like I said, I don't have just one. I actually use all four of these in different ways. Okay. It's just a matter of just getting your ideas out. So this, like I said before, this is going to be more of a 6-part series, and this is part 1. I'm going to help people set their goals and keep accountability. Okay, because I hate that people wait for Monday, and I hate that they wait for New Year's to make changes in their lives, because you're just procrastinating. I'm sorry, I'm just going to be honest. You're just procrastinating. If you really want to change, you'll do it. You'll find a way. You don't need to wait. You don't need to wait. Okay. So there are people out here who will say, and the reason why I know that a lot of people do wait until Monday, because when I was getting more music lessons, when was the day where I got the most emails and calls and inquiries? Monday. Always on Monday. Or maybe a Sunday evening. Okay. And it's always interesting to me where I'm going to go off on a tangent, sorry, where people say, oh, I hate Mondays. It's like, honey, you don't hate Mondays. You hate your job. You hate the current life you're living. And maybe journaling again will help you realize that. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of people inquiring about, starting new things on a Monday a lot. And that's how I know. That's all right. All right, here we go. Part 1, self-identity and awareness. Okay. Did you know you're not your name? Did you know you're not your profession? You are who you say you are. Okay, let me say that again. You are who you say you are. Now, this is where it has been very unfortunate that we grow up in a society, and we are, as humans, we're tribal. We grow up in a society where in order to survive in said society, you've got to conform. And some of it's overt, some of it's covert. Okay. Some of it is obvious, where, your mom, your dad, your family teaches you how to walk, talk, eat, dress, all that good stuff. And then there's religion, who, obviously they definitely tell you how to live your life for whatever reason. Okay. And other institutions. And like government. So like America versus France versus Brazil versus wherever, So, and we've also been trained into thinking that we live on a single trajectory. Trying to look for the right words that everybody would know. It's a single path of life. And that if you set a goal, like I want to be a dentist, and you say, okay, I want to be a dentist, and you set the path on being a dentist. Nothing wrong with being a dentist, okay? But who's to say that you can't always also be a famous watercolorist? Okay, you can. But yet, society has taught us that you either choose one or the other, right? Sometimes our family is telling us that because they want us to, to be practical and or be safe, have a way to make a living in life. It makes me sad that people have to work for food when animals don't have to, so that kind of thing, where it's either one or the other. It's very dualistic. and it's seemingly fixed. However, it doesn't have to be. There's so many people out there, and that's why I go back to being apologized. Like, I have so many skills, y'all have no idea. Like, I've worked so many jobs in my life, and I know I'll be okay. Okay. I've worked in a lot of different fields, and I know me as a person that I can do it. And I don't have to ask for permission to live my best. Now, and because a lot of us have been living in a life that they tell you what it looks like to be successful, they tell you what it looks like to be cared about by the masses in order for you to get a mate, in order for you to have friends, in order for you to do this and that and the other. You have to conform and be a certain way. And once you start to realize that you don't want that anymore in your life, or you're looking to make a change, because things, even something as simple as losing weight, I've seen it from so many people where people treat you differently. People may attack you, people may sabotage you. See, people may ridicule you just because you want to be healthy. Okay. It's unfortunate, but you definitely have to have a strong self identity, or budding self identity, in order to continue into making transformations in your life. And some people need assistance. Some people can do it. Some people can do it all the time. Okay. And some people need that help. They need that guidance. Okay. That is the reason why there's a such thing as personal trainers. There are mentors out there and coaches. Okay. That is the reason. Because sometimes you need that support, that team that's going to help you be successful. And then I put that little quote down there. It's like, don't live your life based on others' opinions. Okay. Because people, well, yeah, they'll tell you up and down. Your Uncle George or whatever will say, well, in order for you to be successful, so Uncle George didn't do it. So that's his opinion. He read it, he might have even read it in a book. He hasn't done it himself, it doesn't. Okay. We're not going to knock Uncle George, because he lived in a world where, yeah, they told you what the path was, and they said that you do this, this, and this, you get your little house, you get your car, you get your little mate, you get your little how many kids and a pet, and then you work for 40 years and you get your little pension and you go sit down somewhere. But that's not how this world is now. We are living in a world where we can make the change while the change is happening around us too. Now's the time, my friends, to make the change. Okay. And so there's lots of goals to be had. And like I said, I pick and choose as I need to sometimes. Like, there are the health and physical goals. Like, you can be working to heal your body in some kind of way. You could be looking to break addictions. You could be looking to make improvements in your body, strengthening or flexibility. Maybe you want to learn how to, do mountain climbing or whatever. Those are types of physical and health goals. Then there are the relationship goals. Doing this inner work is a goal. It's intrapersonal, like in yourself. It's like, why do you self-sabotage? Why do you have such poor self-esteem? And of course, yes, we can talk about how other people have treated you in the past, but in the end, you've got to reestablish yourself. You've got to get to know yourself, all that is, right? Then there's goals of family and just in general social relationship goals. For example, say if you do want to start a family. Now, again, it's up to you. You want to start a family, or if you want to find that mate or that spouse or that partner. There are things I feel like if you are working on intrapersonal, like communication skills, that will be super beneficial. Okay. And I am going to say a lot of these tend to overlap. So some of these goals, even though I separated them out, they kind of interplay with each other in a lot of ways. So yeah, there's that. And then there's extra personal. How do you present to the world? Like, are you, if that is, if you care. So there's some people who they're totally fine living their life a certain way, and they don't care who says what about them. How you communicate, and again, this is about communicating. How do you relate to others? Communicate. Okay, a lot of people deal with learning how to have emotional intelligence and how you present yourself to others in the world. Okay, and then there are the life purpose goals and career goals. Okay, if you are looking to build skills for your career and or life purpose, you gotta start setting it up, right? Then there's, again, in general personal development. Like I said, a lot of this overlaps. And then self-fulfillment. It's like when you feel happy and thankful in yourself, that's wonderful. It's so wonderful to have just the feeling of inner peace. Okay. And as I'm looking at my time, I have good. All right. So are there any questions other than the one I got from my friend who thinks she's funny? Okay. All right. So thank you for coming to this very first session. If you do have questions, like I said before, you can go back to the beginning of this and take a look at the email. You can also comment on the video also. You can do all the things. All right, so next steps. So this is your assignment. So it's up to you to decide on a goal. Okay. I would suggest one or two if you've never really done this before. And then, like I said, I'm here to support you. One or two. It would be even better if they were somehow intertwined, right? If you're breaking the sugar habit, that's an addiction and that's helpful. There you go. Then I want you to decide how you will journal. Okay. You got to make all of this as clear can be. Okay. Right from the beginning. Like I said, I love to do this. My day to day, I tend to pick up my my voice recorder from day to day, sometimes because I have more than one paper pen, by the way. This one lives at home, but what if I'm at work? What if I'm at work? So what am I gonna do? So I just go ahead and pull out my phone and my voice recorder, and there you go. So decide, and then get comfortable with that tool, because that's like your tool. Okay, moving forward. Then you're gonna have to establish the time and space for this growth. That includes the journaling and the activations. Okay. A lot of times people, and we'll talk about this at a later time, about how people get motivated, but then they don't get activated. It's like they get motivated to do something, but then they don't know, or they, fail at not doing it. Okay. It is up to you to decide and carve out that, go break out your calendar, your planner, all that good stuff. Your Google has a planner. I use it all the time. I showed this to my friend like a few weeks ago. He looked at it, he was like, whoa. And I'm about to show y'all. Like there's things on it. Let's just do it as the whole thing. I'm gonna show you the whole thing. So I'll just cover up the parts that it's like I have dots on there.
Sunday, the 13th of August, 2023. Open date.
Oh my goodness, it's funny. All right, so I don't know if you can see that, but every date has some dots on it. It's color coded. I've got stuff to do. I do stuff. Okay. And Get used to it. Carve out that time. Make it your time. If you have a family, if you have a spouse or a partner, you got to tell them, look, this is the time. Share that calendar with them. Tell them it's like, that's my time. Okay. Transformation takes focus. I'm not saying it's not necessarily, it could be hard work depending on what it is, but it does take some focus and some planning. Okay. So set aside that time for your learning. I should have put journaling too. Your learning, your journaling, and your transformation, the activating. You gotta get it done. And I do believe, yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it there as far as like assignments for this first session. Now, I think yes. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing just for a moment so I can reshare. So I want to show you. Thank you, friends, for staying till the end of the first session. You probably will end up with something pretty spring. I hope I have that window up. So as a part of getting or starting this new journaling session, and I was thinking a lot about it and thinking about how some people, put up so many obstacles in why they don't do certain things. They're like, well, I don't have this, I don't have money, I don't have this. Like, first of all, if you're watching this, you have time. Okay. You can do it with me, at least for the next almost 5 weeks now at this point. So you have the time. And so and I was trying to decide on what I was going to have participants do to see if they can earn this little prize. I want you, if you want this prize, to send me an emoji, not just any emoji. Which one? Get in here because I want a certain one. That way I know you watched to the end. I want you to send me since we're talking about transformation. I want you to send the unicorn emoji. Okay. Send me the unicorn emoji. Okay. In the comments. And I will take the collection of unicorns and then I will draw who will win one paper journal every week. Mm-hmm. That's right. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to share my screen again. Let me show you the designs. Now, this is one design. Now, I was trying to see if I can get a collaboration with a visual artist, but it didn't work out. So sometimes you just have to little red hen things, right? Little red hen. I can retell you the story on that at another time, but sometimes you just have to just go little red hen on people. All right, so that's one design. Stopping to share so I can show you another. I have about, I think, 4 different kinds. Second design. The back, I'm just gonna show you. So next, the back matches the front, even though you'll see a green. I'm just being a little lazy. All right, so that's the second design. You'll get to choose if you win. Okay, so once a week, You get to choose. So that's design 2. Embrace your divine yes. Okay. Then I'm already over here. Might as well, you can see my back end. All right. So this is yet another design. You manifest what you believe. Rewrite your story. Okay. That's another one. And then and again, the backings will match the fronts. So I'm saying just to let you know it's not going to be green. All right, pivoting is a power because when we talk about reflections in our work, in our transformations, you might have to do some pivoting, and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, in fact, that makes things better. Learn how to pivot. Okay, and then this one. So this one is sow your seed. Okay. So there's going to be some for everyone. So it's not too early. I do hear about these things. Anyone that is wanting a journal and wanting to win this journal, they can have it, right? And then this one I really do like. And then I may have to show you the back of this one because I kind of amped it up a little bit here. So I'm gonna go and show you both sides. I might do it for both. I mean, for all the designs too, by the way. So I don't know, but I like this one that I worked on. So be, do, have. Okay, we're becoming. Okay, who must I be? What must I do so that I can do? Okay, that's really what you're trying to accomplish. Right? You're changing. And I think I have all of them. I think I've shown you all of them. If not, I will probably put it in my community tab or something. But yeah, that's all of them. Yeah, so you have a choice. You have a choice. Okay, so what I asked you to put in the comments, and then you may win. Now I might change it week by week. We'll see how this goes. Um, yeah. So again, any questions, any suggestions, any concerns, just let me know. Email me, DM me, leave a comment. Okay, take care.